I'm joined now by Eric Trump. He's the executive vice president of the Trump Organization and, of course, the president's son. I want to pick up with what Tom was just saying. And I watched an interview with you earlier, and you did say, you said this bullet tore off a part of your father's ear. You know, we haven't seen him physically, so let's just start right there. I mean, what should people expect? What is the physical injury here?
Well, he's doing well. I mean, obviously he has a bad earache, to say the least, but it was too close. This cannot happen in America. It's just absolutely crazy. And I think Tom actually said it beautifully, but you see kind of the dichotomy between two sides of life, right? I mean, 2 days ago, I was on the couch with my children watching my father almost get assassinated on national TV, and here I show up to Milwaukee and I cast the deciding vote that makes him the Republican candidate for the United States of America. I mean, the highs and lows of the emotions of all of that are just almost unthinkable. But I'm proud of him. He's the toughest guy I've ever met in my entire life. He literally got to the hospital. I spoke to him 45 minutes after that shooting, and he goes, "Nothing changes with the convention. I'm going to be there. Nothing changes with the convention." And his fortitude, his backbone, he's a tremendous human being, and I'm incredibly proud of him.
It's always good to remember that these are human beings on both sides. Were you watching live when this happened? Did you see that unfold live, or did somebody call you and say, go turn on the television?
No, I saw it live. And I was there with Laura. I was there with my children, and I clearly understand the sound of a bullet, and I heard the shots, and my eyes went right up to the TV, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And you instantly see blood. You instantly see somebody on the ground. You don't know if they were hit multiple times, and you're just praying to God that they stand up. And when he got up and when he started pumping his fist in the air, saying "fight, fight, fight," even though he had blood all over his face, at least we knew he was mobile at that point, and that gave you a little bit of hope that he was going to be okay. But those are not fun moments. Those are not fun moments. This cannot happen in this country. I mean, we're the best country on earth. This cannot happen in any way, shape, or form. And it gives a whole different perspective to life and frankly, the whole political narrative among the media and among people and among politics. It's got to get toned down in a big way.
I was going to ask you about that because, I mean, first of all, anyone who has survived something like that, you have to be changed somehow. I wonder what his mindset is right now. He told an interviewer he basically tore up the convention speech he planned to give on Thursday and is going to do something totally new.
I was there when he did that, and his speech is beautiful. It's inspirational. It's forward-looking for this country. It's incredibly positive. It's exactly what we need right now. That's exactly what this country needs. It's the right tone. And frankly, I think it's a lot of what you're seeing out here. I mean, people are dancing. They're holding the American flag. The patriotism in this room is unbelievable. I mean, these people in here, they love America. They bleed red, white, and blue. And we need a lot more of that in this country.
You know, President Biden just did an interview with NBC's Lester Holt, and in it, Lester asked about Biden's use of the word bullseye. The bullseye needs to be on Donald Trump. This was said, of course, before the shooting. The president said it was a mistake to use those words and clarified, of course, he meant the focus should be. He didn't literally mean bullseye, so poor choice of words. I wonder what you think of that. And also, do you think your father is reconsidering some of his own rhetoric on the campaign trail?
Yeah, probably on both sides. I don't think Biden's use of that word was genius. Certainly the timing didn't work well, whether it was intentional or not. It wasn't great. And listen, again, I think
it was before the shooting.
Oh, of course, yes. Of course it was. But I think everybody's rhetoric just needs to change. It does, right? We live in the greatest country on earth, and no one can stop the United States of America if we're together. And I think so much of the tone of this whole convention is going to be exactly that. And he has a great VP pick today. He's doing well. He's going to come out here. I'm going to be sitting next to him a couple of minutes. He's strong. I've never seen him more determined to go out and fight and win. And again, as a son, it's been an emotional roller coaster, but I'm proud of the man. I mean, I love the guy to death. He's the greatest father I could have ever imagined. What he's accomplished, what he's had to endure, the way that they've attacked him, the way they've gone after him, the way they tried to kill him 2 days ago. And yet he'll still walk in proud tonight. That's the fighter America needs. That's exactly what this country needs.
You mentioned J.D. Vance, now vice presidential candidate. Did you know that this was what the choice was going to be? Because his advisors were saying as earlier this morning that it was still a jump ball. They didn't know. Has this decision, though, been made in his mind for a while, do you think?
No, honestly, it hasn't. I think he's obviously has inclinations of what he's going to do. But no, there's a lot of great candidates out there, a lot of people he respects tremendously, a lot of people with great strength. The chemistry between the two of them, between JD and my father, is really tremendous. And I've seen that over time, and they communicate well together. They really like being around each other. And when you're in the highest stress job in the world, which is commander-in-chief, and vice president, having that good line of communication is important.
What about the fact that J.D. Vance used to be quite the critic of your father? Usually he has a long memory for things like that.
Listen, I think that's politics in America, right? Kamala Harris used to call Joe Biden a racist, right? Now all of a sudden they sit in the White House together. That's politics in the United States. But I don't think there's anybody that really, embodies the movement more than J.D. He's totally aligned with my father in terms of his policies. They work incredibly well together. They've been really, locked at the hip over the last, couple of years. And he's an amazing guy, and they truly love each other.
We're talking about tone. You're talking about your father possibly toning down the rhetoric. The Republican platform, interestingly, has moved to the center on a couple of key issues. For the first time in 40 years, the Republican platform does not call for a federal abortion ban. It no longer defines marriage as between one man and one woman, but it doesn't. So is this a sign that your father is moving to the center in some ways or on some issues?
Listen, I think he's always been there on those issues, to tell you the truth. And I think that's reflective of who my father is and what he believes in. And I think that's reflective of my wife, Laura, who runs the RNC, and clearly what she believes in. And I'm proud of the party. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this country has real holes in the roof, and you've got to fix those holes, and you've got to stop worrying about the little, spot on the wall in the basement. You've got to fix those holes, and we've got real immigration problems. We've got fentanyl problems. I can't tell you how many friends. I'm a young guy. I can't tell you how many friends I have who have lost children to fentanyl that's pouring over the border. Our economy isn't great. Everything's more expensive. Inflation's crazy. Gas is crazy. The wars all over the world. We didn't have any wars under my father, and it's just really sad to see what's happened over the last 3 years, and he wants to bring it back. He wants to bring back American greatness, and he will.
Do you think that it's still a competitive race? I mean, since the debate, we've seen polls in swing states favor your father. He had a recent tweet where he said, we're going to win maybe by a historic margin. Do you consider this a competitive race?
Listen, I always want to run behind. I think after the debate was a disaster. And the way the pendulum has moved over the last 6 months and really over the last couple of weeks is tremendous. But I never want to count, anybody as being ahead or behind. I always want to run the hardest races you possibly can. And I promise I'll be out there every single day working my butt off, as will my father, as will our entire family, and, a lot of amazing people. Is he competitive? They're always competitive. They're always competitive. You have a lot of emotion on both sides, but we're going to win. We're going to win on November 5th. I've never felt more confident in anything in my life.
If you had to guess, do you think it will be President Biden as the nominee straight through November, or do you think Democrats will make a change?
I think it'd be pretty obnoxious for them to make the change. Nothing would surprise me, but I think it will be Biden. And I might be in the minority in thinking that, but I think Biden makes it.
All right. Eric Trump, I know you have a date on the convention floor, and we'll see your father for the first time. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for the kindness.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.